Right then, this one is a response to Sabrina Hayes, who was actually the first person who got me back into wanting to produce videos. I've commented on a lot of people, probably in the last few days. I got very bored at work, and my brain has been somewhat nullified, sat on a till working at Lidl. It's very tedious at the moment, but you have to pay the bills, so never mind. Now, she has asked the question of, simply a question for atheists, are you really intelligent? She just said, as she puts it, I won't attempt an insulting accent, I do apologise for that. It suggests that we're all dumbasses. Now, the first thing is she comes up with is she questions whether we can't accept something greater than ourselves, which is a complete fallacy against what we believe by not believing there is a creator. If anything, we believe we are completely insignificant. We have appeared by chance. There is no purpose for existence. We have no reason to exist beyond the perpetuation of our species, which isn't really a reason. It's simply something that keeps going, and if you don't do it, then you wouldn't have existed. You wouldn't continue to exist. So saying that we don't believe we're afraid, we're not willing to accept something greater than ourselves, is completely the wrong way round. I look at the stars and know that it will go on for such a huge distance that if I died, not one jot of the universe would care, apart from the love and care from my family and those who love me and my girlfriend. That's what it's from. That's why I love Christmas. Note the Christmas lights behind me. I'm atheist, but I love Christmas because Christmas is about family. Okay. You lose faith in everything. Maybe perhaps you were abused or something. I lost my faith. I'm going to say lost my faith. I didn't really have faith. I was brought up with a theist mother and an atheist father, neither of which ever said that whether religion did or did not exist. So when I was little, I presumed that all religions were true, because adults told me, therefore they had a good reason. I'd find out later, just like I believed them that the radio worked, or the car works, and how the television works. I wasn't clever enough to understand it, but I assumed that when I grew older, I would be intelligent enough to understand what the reason behind why the radio works, and for what reason they have in saying God existed. I also had the same theory about Father Christmas. I believed Father Christmas existed because adults told me, and I assumed they had a good reason for it. Unfortunately, and I also point out, I believe not in just the Christian God. I believed he existed, but I also believed the Hindu God existed. I also believed that the Aboriginal gods existed. I believed all gods existed, every single one of them, because everyone told me that their God existed. I had no reason to disbelieve any of them, therefore they must all be right, and all their gods existed. I never prayed to them because I thought that was rude, and I didn't understand why a god would need you to pray to them, because I always thought it was a bit arrogant. So I would just sit quietly and not pray in class, because we had religious services at the school and I just wouldn't put my head down. And so this was when I was about, I suppose that would be about 6, really. But when I got to about 8, this is after I had stopped believing in Father Christmas. I'd already stopped believing in Father Christmas by this point. But when I got to about 8, I suddenly realised, well, not suddenly, I developed to the point where I realised there wasn't, grew up. I now knew that Father Christmas doesn't exist because there wasn't any basis for this. I knew that how the radio worked because I had learnt about it in class and my dad had taught me. However, where was this evidence for God that I was expecting when I grew up? Doesn't appear to be any. Just didn't find it. Nothing bad happened to me, not at all. Had an absolutely wonderful childhood. Just grew up and there was no evidence, because I had been allowed to make the decision myself, and a child of 8 without indoctrination will come to the conclusion that God does not exist. It is indoctrination that has made people have staunch faith. It is not a absolute truth that you will just come to and you have to turn away from. It's the other way round. It is something that has to be ingrained in you, not something that you're born with. You were born without religion. You were born atheist. My girlfriend doesn't even think that you should be counted as born atheist. You were born because the word atheist only exists to counter the existence of religion. If there were no religions, no one would be called atheist, because no one would come up with the idea anymore. Okay, then she goes on to some very offensive points about suggesting that you must either be autistic, have taken heavily of drugs and had brain damage because of the drugs, you simply have been lobotomized, or that you are gay or bisexual, implying that lobotomy and brain damage is the same as gay or bisexual, which firstly I take offence at because my girlfriend is in fact bisexual, and I suggest if you're going to keep people happy on the internet, you don't start saying quite such antagonistic and offensive things. I understand that perhaps it's more of a cultural thing from where you live, that's where it is. I can't necessarily go try and persuade you against it, but I would like you to try and understand and empathise with people who are of a different sexuality. Imagine if your child had been born gay, or you had been born gay, and you had no choice in the matter, because you don't have a choice. Okay, that's a completely different aside, but suggesting that there must be brain damage to cause you to be atheist. That's just silly name calling. And the examples you used were very offensive. Saying God does not fit into your lifestyle. I have a better lifestyle than most of the Christian people I know. There's one of my girlfriend's friends who is Christian. I simply knew her as the drunk girl for most of the first year of my university, because she just, every time I saw her, she was asleep in her own vomit or wrapped over a post, and she is a very religious individual, goes to church regularly, praise the Lord and all that, sings in choirs and things, but doesn't actually make you a better person. And she's not a bad person at all, she just has a different lifestyle, and that lifestyle has nothing to do with religion. My lifestyle is probably as good as most Christian people, and I'll come on to that to a later question. Imply that by being atheist we are ruling it over and saying, "Oh, we're intelligent. You're too thick to be atheist. It's only because you're stupid that you're Christian." So no, there's plenty of really intelligent people which are still Christian. I don't always understand it myself, and quite a lot of their arguments just come down to, "I know the facts, but I just believe," and that's all they say. They say, "I know the facts, but I believe. I'm ignoring that. I'm holding science and religion separate. I believe," and I can leave them to that. Don't necessarily agree with it, but that's fine. But equally, you don't have to be intelligent to be atheist. I became atheist when I was 8. I'm not going to be more intelligent than you are now when I was 8 years old, but I still came to the conclusion that God did not exist. Okay, saying it makes us look like dumbasses, which again, pointless name calling. Suggesting that you are more moral than atheists, and generally because of you're suggesting you are more moral than atheists because you ask, is there such a person as an atheist who has not done drugs and not got into fights and not gone to prison? Well, you're looking at him. I have never been arrested, I've never done drugs, I've never smoked weed or any recreational drugs, I've never even had alcohol, I've been teetotal my whole life. Unfortunately, I grew up with people who were falling asleep in their own vomit by age 12, because England has a very unfortunate drinking culture. And yes, all those things that you said. I've had a wonderful family upbringing. I've just graduated from university. I'm working at the moment, unfortunately, in Lidl, but I'm applying to do a master's in concept art in London. What other examples did you give? Yeah, family problems, fight. I've been in a fight once, but I wouldn't hit him back because I didn't want to hurt him. And there were 3 of them, and I wouldn't hit back because I don't want to hurt them, because I don't agree with hurting people, because I have empathy, which comes from evolution. And also, you just know it's right, because I hate it when I see people in pain. I hate things being done that are bad to people. I don't like lying to people because it's mean. It comes from you. The same place that the people who wrote the Bible got their morals from was from themselves, and they put it in the Bible. That's where sometimes some of the morals aren't very good, because they were homophobic, because they went, "Ugh, they put penises in each other. Ugh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's bad. You're not allowed to do that anymore." That's their reaction. They made it part of the Bible. It's just, then there are other morals of going, be good to each other. Don't do things that are wrong, that you feel would be wrong to you. And then they wrote that down because that was what they felt was right. And then sometimes they get it wrong as well, because they're people. And that's where all the problems from the Bible actually came from. Right then, I'm about to go over time. I can't think of any other examples, anything else to say, responding to your question, apart from I am that exact person, that atheist that you were looking for, that doesn't have any emotional problems, doesn't have any problems with the law, and he's just a good person better than I found a lot of Christian people that I know. And yes, Merry Christmas. And yeah, I think there's another video I was going to respond to, but I've taken up too much time in this one, so that'll be a different one. Thank you. Bye bye.